I know this is really boring because it's like on slides. In the next video I'm gonna make, I will go to the dog cam, but I've been in bed all weekend, not feeling well, so that's why I had to do slides until now. Okay, so this is a little different because of these 3z and 5u. So these two terms of this function make it, oh my gosh, why can't I do this? Make it hard for us to use just a summing amplifier. And if you see here, this prompt does not say one op amp only. We can use several op amps. However, the way to design this anyway is the last op amp will be a summing amplifier that will be like this. So let me redraw this function, f of x y z u. Here's it written in a summing amplifier way. It's minus 0.01 x and minus 10y. These two go inside that first op, the last op amp, and then minus 3z plus 5u. So if this means, hopefully everybody remembers that minus minus equals a plus. So this means that I could make a 3z 5u into a summing amplifier themselves, and then put that into a summing amplifier. And I would have all these done with just 2 op amps. There are several other designs. You're welcome to try anything else you want and send to me for me to look at and tell you if your design is correct or not. And I will absolutely look. And again, the function, let's just make this 10. Let's make it 5 and minus 2 to make it easier, for minus 1 to make it easier for me to draw. And you can use as many resistors, but they are all 10s, blah, blah. Next time I'll make one with 200s or 20, 200, 2K. Okay, so the same thing is true in the beginning. So I'm going to put the x and y exactly like we did in the last video. It's going to be 1k here, and I needed to divide the x by 100, so I have to put 100k here. And I need to multiply the y by 10, so I put the 100 ohms here. Now there's going to be another input, which is going to be the input from the z and the u. So I need to make a circuit that evaluates z and u, 3z and 5u. So that's what I have done in the next slide. So I'm copying that first one here. Let me insert already the power supply. It's the thing that I always forget, and I think a lot of students forget too. So please remember this on the exam. Just put the power supply. Here's the tip. It's only on your last op amp. So it turns out the first op amp doesn't have this constraint because I want to evaluate this function here as widely as I can. Hopefully it's like 15 and minus 15, but the question doesn't ask me to put power here, only asks me power on the function. So this function needs to be clipped or needs to be capped at 5 and minus 1. So don't put that power supply on this op amp yet. So now here I need again to do the u and the z according to those constraints, the t and the 3 and the 5 times 3 times 5. So instead of the same thing as we did before, I could have used the 1k and used here the 1k, but instead, to make things a little different, I already imposed a 10k on this. So if I want to multiply u by 5, that means this guy has to be 5 times smaller than 10. So it needs to be 2k, but I only have 1k resistors, so I need to do 1k in parallel. Two 1ks in series. On the other hand, z needs to be multiplied by 3. So if I put 3 10k in parallel, they will give me 3.333k. and it will be multiplied by 3 with that RF of 10K. So this is the end of this design. Hopefully you can use this in many other functions, actually all other functions that I ask you to design. And this is an example of a function that has, positive and negative terms. And again, x, y, z, and u are signals that we cannot impose any constraints on. So I can't say that u is always positive or negative. Actually, it's varying. It's a time varying signal. So same thing with z, same thing x, and same thing with y. One last thing I want to say is that when I grade, I'm going to also look here, what is that function? And it turns out this, let's say, function of g of u and z is, oh man, uz is minus 3z minus 5u. And so by the time you get to f, these two minuses get multiplied by, just multiplied by minus 1, because I put here in Ri the same so this 1k here is the same value as 1k, so I'm just multiplying it by minus 1. So this g ends up being 3z and 5u by the time it becomes f. I'm sorry for my bad drawing here. I hope this is understandable. Please let me know if it's not, if I can answer any questions.